Sunil Khanna is the third Australian man to pass away from coronavirus in India while trying to get home. He was over there in New Delhi looking after his elderly parents, but they all tested positive to coronavirus on April 25. Now, Sanjay Khanna, his brother who lives in Kellyville in northwest Sydney, he spoke to the Sydney Morning Herald and he said he was trying to get his family medical attention, ambulances, trying to get them admitted. And when Sunil Khanna was finally admitted to hospital after about 4 days, shortly after he was admitted, he suffered a cardiac arrest and died. 24 hours later, his mother then succumbed to the virus as well. Now, Sanjay Khanna, back here in Sydney, is pleading with the Australian government to help his elderly father, who is alone there, and his last relative over in India, to bring him to Australia. So this is a desperate situation, and it was just yesterday we heard of this second Australian man to pass away in India from coronavirus, Govind Kant. He leaves behind a wife and 2 daughters here in Sydney, and he also lost his mother, aunt and father to coronavirus in India. He was reportedly waiting for weeks for a repatriation flight to India, to home. There are repatriation flights happening at the moment, but you need to return a negative test. So if you have an acute case of coronavirus, you can't get on one of these flights and you're left to deal with an overrun medical system in India. On Tuesday, India reported a record of 4,300 deaths in the country, Pete.
Meanwhile, Kenny, the Prime Minister is facing criticism from the New South Wales Premier over an interstate travel vaccine passport.
That's right. Well, Gladys Berejiklian is not against a vaccine passport. In fact, she was one of the first premiers to suggest it last year, but her idea was to allow hospitality venues, concert venues, places of work to make their own mind about whether people are allowed into a venue or not if they've been vaccinated, not to do with interstate borders. That plan hasn't been formalised as yet, but Prime Minister Scott Morrison, his idea or his desire is to have a vaccine passport where you are exempt from local restrictions or border lockdowns in your state. And that would kind of entrench a freedom of movement for those vaccinated people. And it would also incentivise people to get the vaccine as well. Well, Premier Gladys Berejiklian says there should be freedom of movement in Australia across borders, vaccine or no vaccine, and a vaccine passport should be for international borders only. So this is likely to cause more tension within National Cabinet, and getting all the premiers to agree on this is going to be an issue as well. In fact, ACT Chief Minister Andrew Barr, WA Premier Mark McGowan, they're saying we need more evidence, we need more of a concrete plan before we can agree to any of this. But it seems like some sort of vaccine passport is in the works at a state level and also the federal level. But Pete, no plan has been formulated as yet, so it could be a while off.